For too often, we've had people talk about the bad things going on in the state of Illinois. But enterprise zones is something we've done right. We've done it right for 30 years, and we want to make sure that we continue to do it right for at least the next 20. And that's why the Senate President has created a new special committee on enterprise zone extensions. Along with my co-chair, Senator Pamela Althoff, and other members of the committee, we're going to be traveling around the state, listening to business and community leaders, getting their input, their stories about how these enterprise zones have created jobs, have spurred economic development throughout the state of Illinois. Now, I think that this is something that is very important. I'm very happy for the chance to do this and very looking forward to traveling with Senator Althoff. She's going to have a few remarks for you as well. But I think what the Manufacturers Association has proposed is a common sense approach for renewing this in a way that's not piecemeal, but is comprehensive. And so you'll hear from Mark Denzler, COO of the Illinois Manufacturers Association today as well. And then also Craig Coyle with the Enterprise Zones Association will be talking to you as well. So we'll entertain any questions after they've all spoken. Senator Althoff.
Thank you. As stated, my name is Pamela Althoff. I am the state senator from the 32nd District, that is up in McHenry County. I am also a former mayor, and I am the co-chair of the Local Government Caucus here in Springfield, Illinois. As a former representative of local governments, I really do understand how important enterprise zones can be as tools to local entities to spur that economic development that we're all looking for so importantly here in Illinois. I also would like to note that in our proposal, in the reforms that are being proposed, we are incorporating all of the transparency and accountability that you're also hearing that we want to do here at the state level. We are requiring that of these new enterprise zones and the existing zones. So you will know that they are appropriate tools and they are being used in the way that we want them to be used. So I thank you very much for being here today. I too am looking forward to hearing from other communities about how we can actually make this a wonderful opportunity and tool for our local entities to use to spur what we need here economically. Mark Denzler. Thank you.
Hi, Mark Denzler with the Illinois Manufacturers Association. I would like to thank both Senate President John Colleton, Senate Leader Chris Radogno, but more importantly, Senator Mike Frerichs and Senator Pam Althoff for standing here today for their leadership on the extension and reform of Illinois' current enterprise zone program. Today in Illinois, we have 97 enterprise zones. Last year alone, they led to $2.5 billion in capital investment in the retention or creation of 24,000 new jobs in Illinois. Since they've been created, we've had nearly $50 billion in capital investment, along with the creation and retention of 900,000 jobs. These are located from Chicago to Cairo, from Champaign to the Quad Cities, and nearly every community across the state of Illinois. And it's absolutely critical that we extend these enterprise zones that are expiring in 2013. Part of the IMA's legislation that we worked on with businesses and economic development officials and legislators includes a 25-year extension of current enterprise zones, the creation of 10 new enterprise zones across the state over the next decade, no more than 2 a year. We increased the geographic size of current enterprise zones, which in many cases are landlocked. We reformed the tax structure, and actually we get rid of some tax incentives that we don't think are needed in enterprise zones anymore. So we're not asking for new tax incentives, we're actually getting rid of some incentives in addition to extending the current program. And then as Senator Althoff and Senator Frerichs both noted, we increased transparency and some reporting requirements, again, so that the taxpayers and the public know what's happening with these enterprise zones. And I'm happy to turn it over to Craig Coyle, who's with the Decatur-Macon County Economic Development Commission and also chair of the Illinois Enterprise Zone Association.
Thank you, Mark. As he said, I'm with the Economic Development Corporation of Decatur-Macon County. I'm an enterprise zone administrator and president of the board of the Illinois Enterprise Zone Association. I can tell you, first of all, that the association thanks all the leaders on this legislation, Senator Frerichs, Senator Althoff, and the IMA. This has been an issue that's been important to us for a number of years. For the last 3 years, we've worked on this legislation, and it's passed the Senate unanimously generally over those past 3 years, and it's stalled later on down the process. And we're encouraged by the fact this legislation is going to move forward and allow us to have the extension of a really good program for economic development. You hear a lot of conversations about business incentives and credits. One of the things that we know about the Enterprise Zone program is that it's productive, it's equitable, and it's accountable, and it impacts businesses of all sizes, from the mom and pop shop on the downtown square to the major corporations. So we look forward to working with everybody to make sure this legislation passes, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have later about the program. Thank you.
And for those who would like to follow this traveling roadshow, we will be having our first meeting on March 15th in Carbondale, Illinois, and we'll also have meetings in Peoria, Rockford, and Chicago with dates to be determined. So we're hoping to gather a lot of good input throughout the state of Illinois. We know there are lots of good stories. They've been successful for 3 decades now, and we just want to continue that success. Any questions?
Senator, is there much opposition to renewing them, and if so, from whom is that coming?
Well, I guess we probably both attempt to answer this. In the Senate, there has not been much opposition. I carried a bill last year, sailed through the Senate. Unfortunately, it didn't move in the House. I think you see there's not much opposition here. The fact that our committee is bipartisan. 3 Democrats, 3 Republicans. I'll be joined on my side of the aisle by Senators Kaler and Hutchinson as well. Unfortunately, there's been a request for more study over in the House. When I've spoken as to why it didn't move, I was told that, well, we need to study this a little more. But I think the IMA approach is comprehensive and it's common sense. And that's what we need to do. And my hope is not only will we hear good stories as we travel around the state of Illinois, hopefully some of the legislators across the rotunda will hear them as well, and we'll have some increased pressure to do the right thing.
And for those who don't know, what is an enterprise zone, and what are some of the special financial incentives that go along with that?
Sure. Enterprise zones are economic development tools that combine both state and local tax incentives. So, for example, there is a sales tax exemption on building materials. If you're building a project in an enterprise zone, they don't have to pay the sales tax. There are some utility tax exemptions for manufacturers in enterprise zones. So it's a combination of state and local tax incentives. I would have to add that these zones begin expiring in 2013. They have to be approved by the locals. And so there's a public hearing, there's a notice. The locals approve it before it comes back to the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity for their final review before it officially would become extended. And I would point out that the first 7 zones that are set to expire in 2013, one is Canton, Fulton County, 2 in Chicago, Decatur, Macon County, Des Plaines, River Valley, East St. Louis, Peoria, and Rockford. Those are the first 7 zones that are set to expire.
Greg, could you talk to what would it mean to Decatur to lose it, and what kind of jobs are maybe filled in an enterprise zone that would otherwise go unfulfilled?
Well, Decatur, like the other communities, we're being put at a competitive disadvantage if the zones are not renewed, because there are still a number of zones throughout the state who have lifetimes that extend for another 15 years. So as we have major employers like Archer Daniels Midland and Caterpillar and Tate and Lyle and on the top end of things, and then small businesses like Barton Manufacturing and the second tier kind of suppliers to our major employers, considering investment opportunities, they're going to look to see if the enterprise zone's in place and for how long. And the thing about it is, if we have this extension, it allows us to have predictability. Businesses need that now, especially in the current economic climate, and so it's critical to Decatur as well as the other communities that we get this passed as soon as possible.
I just want to expound upon what Craig said. There's some people that think that, well, we still have time to pass this because they don't start expiring until next year. But the enterprise zones that are set to expire next year are already at a competitive disadvantage to other enterprise zones around the state and to other places around the country. Because when businesses are coming in, they're looking for predictability, they're looking to build a plan, and if they can only plan on those tax benefits for 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years, they're much less likely to make the kind of investments we need in our community. And that's why it's important we do it right now, not just for the 7 districts that are set to expire soon, but the other ones that have limited lifetime left and are looking to attract businesses that want to make long-term plans.
And I would note, in addition to Craig and myself, but other groups, they're supporting metro counties, the city of Peoria, Chemical Industry Council, the Greater Springfield Chamber of Commerce. So it's a big group of supporters, whether they be local associations, statewide, or individual business or economic development directors. So it has strong support statewide.
Mark, my recollection was that years ago this started as an idea that I think originated with Jack Kemp back probably around 30 years ago. And the idea was that also it would create jobs for maybe some of those who didn't have a high school degree and would get them involved in the workforce. A, is that true still? And why manufacturing? I mean, does this tend to be more heavy industry kind of jobs that we're looking at?
Well, no, manufacturing is certainly a critical component of the Illinois economy. I mean, it employs 575,000 workers and contributes 12.5% of the state's GDP, the single largest sector. But as Craig indicated, companies in enterprise zones range from the mom and pop business on the town square to, the large manufacturing corporation. And so it could be a manufacturing corporation, there are supply chain companies located there. This was created originally about 30 years ago. Illinois has extended it. The first time it created was 20 years. They've extended it once. We're asking for an extension and modernization of the current program. So as Senator Frerichs indicated, Illinois companies and economic development officials have long-term stability and predictability moving forward. And certainly we need jobs in Illinois. And this is one thing that's proven to work. The Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunities calls this one of the most successful tools they have in their arsenal. So it's important, as the senators have indicated, that we extend it this year.